Hello, folks. I'm doing a little research for Dr. Morse, and I'm looking at the environmental impact of feeding humanity, of feeding humans on this planet, and how comparing a diet of fruit versus a diet of animal products, how that impacts our beautiful planet with regards to the amount of land we need, the amount of water we need to grow each of these different types of food products. So overall, when we compare animal foods to fruits, and I'm focusing on fruits because the research Dr. Morse is looking into is based on the premise that humans are frugivores. We thrive on a fruit-based diet. We have color vision to see when fruit ripens. We have hands that grasp onto things like trees, so we can climb a tree to grab an apple or an orange. So there's a lot of research that shows that our physiology and our anatomy is very much that of a frugivore. And if we look at other animals that are frugivores, we look a lot more like them than we look like a carnivore, for instance. Okay, so overall, if we look at land use efficiency, fruits are more efficient. They're using less land and negatively impacting that land compared to, beef, for instance. So if we look at fruits, they produce 153 times more calories on a single acre compared to beef. So you're just getting more bang for your buck when you grow on a single acre of land fruit trees compared to beef. So they looked at apples here. So apples produce 13.6 million calories on a single acre, while if you're growing beef, you're only getting 89,000 calories per acre. And I hate to say that, growing beef. I mean, let's use real words here. This is a cow, a sentient being that is living on that acre of land that needs to be killed. With the apple, you're not killing anything. In fact, the apple is a gift from the plant, and it, falls to the ground, and we pick it up, and we can see that it looks good, and we have, a lot of taste bud sensors on the tip of our tongue that are really going to enjoy that sugar coming from the apple. Okay, next we're going to look at water. And we're going to compare here gallons of water per pound of food produced. We're going to start with the animal products first. Let's look at beef. Beef requires 1,800 gallons of water per 1 pound of beef. So 1,800 gallons of water per 1 pound of beef produced. With pork, 578 gallons of water are needed to produce a pound of pork. Chicken, we need about 468 gallons of water to produce a pound of chicken. And that lovely cheese, we need 381 gallons of water to produce a pound of cheese. Now let's compare that to the fruits and how much less of an impact regarding water use fruits have. So apples only need 18 gallons of water to produce a pound of apples. We only need 13 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of oranges. To produce a pound of bananas, we need only 43 gallons of water. And the beautiful grape, we need 26 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of grapes. So if we just compare, grapes to beef. Beef, again, we need 1,800 gallons of water to produce a pound of beef. Only 26 gallons of water to produce a pound of grapes. So we're definitely not stealing as much water to feed ourselves when we're focusing on the fruits compared to the animal products. Next, we're going to look at how many calories of food we can produce in a single acre of land. And in this chart, we're looking at millions of calories. So 1 million calories, that's what the numbers here. So 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, so on and so forth. So let's start with beef again. So on 1 acre of land of beef, 0.089 million calories of beef. That's on 1 acre of land. Chicken, we produce 1.4 million calories on an acre of land. Pork, about 500,000 calories per acre of land, 0.5. And milk, if we're deciding we want to grow milk on our acre of land because we really enjoy, coughing up a bunch of mucus, we will produce 1 million calories on that acre of land coming from milk. Now let's see how many calories we're getting from our fruits. With the apples, 13.6 million calories on our acre of land coming from apples. Citrus, 24 million calories per that acre of land. Bananas, 12 million calories on that acre of land. And then 10 million calories if we're growing pears on that acre of land. So again, we get 10 million calories from pears. For beef, we're not even at 1 million. We're at 0.089 million. So that's very low. And we'll look at how many people we can feed on that acre of land coming up. And that's what we're seeing on the next slide. Land use efficiency. How many people could be fed on that acre of land when we're comparing animal products to fruits? So let's start with beef. If we're growing beef on that acre of land, meaning that we are, allowing a cow to graze or several cows to graze on our acre of land, and we may fall in love with those cows only to kill them at the end of this whole ordeal so that we can stuff our faces with food coming from that cow. We can't even feed one person on that acre of land. So not even one person can be fed in 1 year. We can feed 0.12 people coming from one cow. So if you're a single person living on an acre of land and all you decide to eat is beef, you will not be able to survive for a year, right? So that's kind of sad. Let's say you decide to grow chickens on your acre of land, meaning that, again, you're going to let these little chickens walk around, and you're going to feed them seed or whatever you give them so that they can grow to be bigger chickens, only so that you can kill them after you have fallen in love with them, caring for them during that year. You're just going to kill them so you can eat them. I mean, I just only stress that because that's what we're doing. We're killing these animals so we can eat them. And so let's say you and your partner decide to live on the acre of land. Both of you cannot survive the full year if you're just eating chickens. So on average, 1.9, so less than 2 people can be fed if they're living on land where chickens are going to be harvested, meaning killed for their food. Let's say you have cute little pigs on your land. Again, not even one person can survive the year. Only 0.68 people can be fed in 1 year on an acre of land where pigs, pork, are being grown or, cared for until they need to be slaughtered and killed, murdered. And then milk, let's say you have some cows that you're going to force to be pregnant and, they're going to give birth and they're going to want to breastfeed their little baby cows. But no, you're going to steal that calf away from the mother so you can stuff your face with cow's milk, only to live a life of mucus congestion and coughing and increasing your chances of autoimmune diseases. So if that's what you decide to do for the year where you're growing cows for milk, only 1.37 people can feed on that cow for a year just by sucking the milk out of its udders. Not even 2 people. Now let's look at fruit and look at how much more efficient fruit is at feeding humanity. So let's say we take that acre of land, and for a whole year, how many people can we feed on that acre of land? We can feed 18.6 people. So you can not only feed your own family, let's say you're a family of 4, but you can probably feed the people around you in your community. So you're creating, companionship, you're helping each other out. You can't help your neighbors if you're growing beef, but you can help your neighbors if you're growing apples. Let's look at citrus. So let's say we're growing oranges or grapefruit or lemons, any of the beautiful citrus varieties. We can actually feed 33 people in a year on that acre of land. 33 people can be fed on that acre of land. Now, bananas. Dr. Morse talks about how bananas are the perfect food. There was some research that he cited, and I can't recall it right now, but I'm sure if you watched any of Dr. Morse's videos, you have heard him say that. And just look at how efficient it is in feeding humanity. We can feed 16.4 humans growing bananas on that acre of land. So again, you're probably not going to be able to eat all of the bananas yourself, even in your own family, but you'll share them and you'll, again, create bonds with your neighbors. Maybe you can go to the farmer's market and trade the bananas for something else. Because sometimes just eating one fruit can get a little bit boring. So, trade it for some oranges, trade it for other things that you might want to eat. And then if we were growing pears on that acre of land, you can feed 13.7 people on 1 acre of land for the year. Pretty remarkable stuff. So fruits for the win. Okay, so let's recap. Water efficiency. Apples use 2,400 times less water per calorie compared to beef. So definitely apples in this case, and most of the fruits overall, much more water efficient. If we look at yield, citrus fruits produce 50 times more calories than chicken. So we're getting more bang for our buck when we're growing fruit. And then land efficiency, bananas can feed 270 times more people on a single acre compared to beef. So fruits are definitely more efficient. Fruits are the ideal food for humanity. Now let's go on to the next slide and check out the carbon footprint. So we're looking at the amount of carbon dioxide emissions that are created when producing a kilogram of each of these different food products. Let's start with beef. Beef produces 60 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of beef produced. So that's a pretty high carbon dioxide output. Now let's look at if we're growing lamb. Cows, lamb, they're so cute. So when you're growing lamb for food, you're producing 39 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of lamb. For pork, it's 7 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of pork. And then chicken, it's 6 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of chicken. Now moving on to the fruits, apples produce less than a half of a kilogram, so 0.4 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of apples produced. With the oranges, it's even less, 0.3 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of orange. Bananas, 0.7 kilograms of carbon dioxide will be emitted per kilogram of bananas produced. And tomatoes, 1.1 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of tomato. Here we're looking at an analysis of why fruits are the best foods to feed the human species for our environment, for our planet, and for sustainability, so that we can share this planet with all of the amazing other life forms that we benefit from and benefit from us. First, water efficiency. Fruits require dramatically less water per calorie than animal products. Beef needs 1,800 gallons of water per pound, while apples need only 18 gallons of water per pound, making apples 100 times more water efficient compared to beef. Moving on to land productivity. Tree fruits are exceptional at converting land into food. A single acre of apple trees produces 13.6 million calories. If we take that same acre, we're only producing 89,000 calories from beef. So this means that the fruits are 153 times more productive in producing calories compared to the animal products. Now let's look at energy efficiency. Animal agriculture has massive energy losses. Beef has only 2% energy efficiency. For every 100 calories that are fed to cattle, only 2 calories come back as beef. Now remember, this food that we're feeding cattle, we can actually feed humans with that food, right? So we're not getting much from the food we're giving to the cattle for our own calories if you decide to eat these beautiful little cows. Now let's look at carbon storage. And this is really looking at how fruit is more efficient than a lot of your annual crops like corn. So fruit trees provide a climate twofer. They produce food and they store carbon in their woody biomass. This is unlike annual crops, like I said, like corn. These must be replanted yearly. So we're not getting that carbon storage in the annual crops. And a lot of the corn is going to the, cows and other animal products that are being harvested in factory farms, so making it even less efficient and producing even more carbon dioxide. Okay, feed conversion. 98% of water used in animal agriculture goes to growing feed crops. This indirect land use makes animal products far less efficient than eating plants directly. And then on a global scale, if everyone ate plant-based diets, we could reduce global agriculture land use from 4 billion down to 1 billion hectares. And this would free a vast area for natural ecosystems. All right, let's kind of finish this video out with the numbers, okay? So we'll focus on first water per pound required to grow these different food products. Let's say with our acre of land, we've got some cows that we are taking care of in a year, and we want to, love these cows, feed them, only to kill them so we can eat them, right? If we're doing that, we will need 1,800 gallons of water to, care for these cows so we can slaughter them and kill them for food. 1,800 gallons of water will be required. Now, if we're looking at apples, let's say we decide on our acre of land we're going to grow a bunch of apple trees, we will only need 18 gallons of water. That makes growing apples 100 times more efficient with regards to using less water per pound compared to beef. Now let's see how many calories we're getting from these food products. Comparing again, beef, we'll say beef with oranges. If on our acre of land, we've got our cows that we're going to slaughter and then kill, we will get 89,000 calories from those beef that can live sustainably on an acre of land. On the other hand, if we take our acre of land and we grow a lot of orange trees, we are getting 24 million calories from those oranges that we harvest. This makes the orange trees 270 times more productive in producing calories to feed humans compared to the beef, the cows. Now, how many people can live off of that acre of land? Well, if you're going to be caring for and then murdering cows, you can't even feed one person in a year. Less than one person, less than a half of a person. You can feed 0.12 people in 1 year with the amount of land required to let a cow live that you would then kill for food. Whereas if you're growing bananas on that acre of land, in 1 year you can feed 33 people. This makes the bananas capable of feeding 275 times more people compared to beef.
So all I have to say here is that if you have an acre of land and you want to eat beef, you want to eat cows, you better hope that you have some neighbors that are close by that are growing fruit, because you're going to need their help to feed just yourself over the period of a year. Do you see how much more challenging it is to be a carnivore, and this carnivore diet craze that people are jumping on? It's just not effective to feeding the world's population, let alone the negative health impacts, which I haven't even touched upon.
Last but not least, let's look at carbon dioxide emissions. Carbon dioxide is a natural gas that we exhale and other mammals exhale. But, too much carbon dioxide does have some environmental impact. And yes, there's debate about this with climate change. I'm not even going into that. Yes, I know that the evil occultists that like to control humanity, they like to throw out fear with climate change and global warming. Let's just throw that to the side. We're just looking at how much carbon dioxide is emitted, comparing on an acre of land if you're growing cows versus fruit. So on an acre of land, the beef that's grown there will produce about 60 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of beef you would harvest. And with the same amount of land, if we're growing apples with these beautiful apple trees, and apple trees are beautiful. I have several apple trees in my backyard. They have these beautiful blossoms that show, and then the apples start growing. Anyway, only about 0.4 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of apples harvested will be emitted. So again, the fruits have 150 times lower emissions. All right, that's my video. This was just a quick review. I thought it would be a nice video to put together. You might see something like this in Dr. Morse's video books that are coming out hopefully soon. And I hope you all have a beautiful day. Bye.